Please put your hands together for our next guest, a man who has got his team into a very good position in 2008 and a massive game on Saturday before he goes down the slide with the other 17 coaches. Brad Scott, everybody! Thanks for coming on, mate. Thank you. Lovely to have you. It is a big game for you on Saturday. We'll talk a bit later about how you've got North humming along, but it's a big game against Geelong on Saturday.
Yeah, it is a big game. It's one we're looking forward to, and they've got right back into really good form after having a few injuries earlier in the year. So, going to be a big game, but our players looking forward to it. Now,
this after you've done that, and after you've gone down the slide, there's an event that we're very keen to know a bit more about. You've got you're going over to Gill's place on Monday night for another coaches meeting. You're going over to a meeting with
Andy. I'll hold you up there. It's not a meeting.
They're going over for a coaches meeting at Gill's place on Monday.
It's not a meeting at all. And Steve Hocking clarified that during the week.
Coaches meeting coming up next week.
Yeah, next
on the agenda.
Well, coaches dinner.
Sorry.
I think it's pretty important just to recognise that it's not a meeting. It's a dinner.
So don't even think about bringing an agenda at all, Scotty. At all. You're not allowed to talk footy.
Can I ask 2 questions?
Sure.
One is it a dinner or a meeting?
It's a dinner.
It's a dinner.
Yep.
And Shakespeare, hit or miss? What do you think, mate?
I'm a hit.
You're a hit.
Yeah, I'm a hit.
What a surprise.
St Kevin's boy should say that. What happens? What happens? We're intrigued by this meeting/dinner you have at Gill's place. What happens?
Well, I think he's clarifying the fact that it's a dinner because he's expecting everyone to bring at least something, a bottle of wine, box of chocolate, something. But no, we just talk about the game, state of the game, whatever's on the coach's mind. So it's obviously great to have Gill there and to talk to Gill about what's going on at the AFL. But one of the great things is very rarely do all the coaches get together and talk, and most of us are actually pretty good friends. Most of us, aren't.
Brad, I got to be honest, that sounds like a meeting. But anyway, we are obsessed with this meeting or dinner or whatever you want to call it, and it starts from the time the coaches arrive. We're in from the start. Simon's there. Like Brad said, you've got to bring something. And Goody there brought a bottle of wine. I'd like John Morswell just brought the board games for the night. That's nice. I don't know. Chris Fagan obviously got it mixed up. He thinks he's sleeping over for the night. The thing is that we're all curious as to know. There's Chris, Alistair with a bottle of gin, and Brad, here you arrive with a cheeky little bottle of red there. Now that is very distinctive as a Penfolds brand. Now, but that big range at Penfolds, by the way. Now there's the Grange and the 309. You didn't go to the old cheeky Rawson's retreat down there. What kind of red's that? What did you spend?
I just had my hand over the label, just saw Penfolds over the top, but I think it was a St Henri. Pangy, you'd know what that is.
It's a cracking rum. That's St Henri's a very nice one.
Very nice wine. Hey, can you come and join us after this?
Yes,
We're going to talk more with Brad Scott when we come back from this short break. You're making a name for yourself as a coach. You're on the verge of your 5th finals campaign in 9 years as senior coach, which is a great record. But you played a lot of footy before that, and some people, younger ones, may not remember that. 168 games, 2 flags for Hawthorn and Brisbane. You're part of that Super Brisbane team. I want to know, when you started at Hawthorn, 2 years delisted and then worked yourself back onto that senior list at Hawthorn, what did you have to do in that year away? What did you have to get better at?
Oh, well, everything really. I mean, the biggest thing I had to do was change my mental approach. I mean, I came into AFL footy as a massive Hawthorn supporter. And to be honest, my first year I was just overawed. I walked in, Dunster was there, Platten was there, and I was just happy to be there.
Yeah, right.
Then when I got delisted, I thought, nah, when I'm playing on Darren Jarman at training, I'm going to win the ball, as opposed to the year before where I just, I was in awe of these guys.
Yeah, right.
Do you think that's made you a better coach? Do you think you got more empathy with early first-year players?
No, absolutely no doubt about that. Yeah, I think that I always sort of marvelled at some of the great players who went on to coach, and always wondered, how they would find a way to get more out of players, because the great players went out and just did it. I think the players who had to work really hard to be good players, had to find a way. And so, I've got a bit of a blueprint as to, how to improve yourself and therefore how to improve your team. But doing it hard is certainly, as a player, certainly makes you a better coach, in my opinion.
Geez, it was good watching that vision there from the grand final there on Hurdy. You played such a good game that day. And when you were with your brother Chris, you were pretty formidable, both of you, especially when you got together. And Jason Blake experienced that from St Kilda. Have a look. Jason Blake has a crack. He thinks he's only got one, Scott, and then he realised there's one in the middle. And he fair dinking. I might try to get out of this one. When you got two Scots in your face, it's time to get out of it. That's the best thing Jason Blake ever did was get out of it.
I really like the fact that when Blakey says, I've had enough, I want to get out of this, you two blokes said, no, we're going to keep coming at you. It's really nice of you, wasn't it?
I like that was Brett Voss, number 13 for St Kilda, so he played with us at Brisbane, so he might have come in and said, Blakey, no.
Get out of
it. Bad idea.
Is the whole twin intuition thing crap for you boys, or have you felt something that he was feeling when he's been away from you?
No, it's crap.
Is it crap? No, well, I disagree with you, Scotty, because on this day, if we have a look, you guys were thinking the exact same thing towards the umpire. And if we have a look at another angle here, it's just... Mum, we have cleaned our room. What are you...
I can't believe you found the only time I remonstrated with an umpire.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have a twin brother, but I can sense it when Ando's doing a painting, if you know what I mean. But the thing is, I want to ask you...
You get some good mileage.
I want to ask you about... We've had a lot of Brisbane greats on the show. We've had Jonathan Brown, we've had Vossi a couple of weeks ago. The great Lee Matthews was actually here, one of the biggest highlights of our career.
Yep.
Mate, how great a coach was he for you? And also, what kind of what extreme measures did he go to attain success with that group?
Oh, he was a genius coach. I mean, just a genius manager of people, had an unbelievable ability to take complex information and make it simple and digestible for players. But there were times that he went to the extremes, and I remember Daniel Bradshaw missed a preliminary final in the late 90s, I think it was, and his wife was due to give birth, and he missed the preliminary final to be at the birth, which is every player's prerogative to make that decision. But when we went back to training the next year in January, Lee made us all come into a team meeting and told us that none of us were to have unprotected sex during that month. Because we were on the verge of another finals campaign, and I started laughing, and then no one else laughed. I thought he was joking, and Lee was just deadly serious, and I thought, he is serious, but it worked. No one missed the final to be at their wife's birth. So
did Sean Hart put his hand up and said, well, I haven't had it for a couple of weeks?
Could have picked a couple of blokes there.
Now, he was undeniably a great coach and like the perfect coach for that team. I've got to be honest though, and we're not sure. We've shown this a couple of times. We're not sure. Opposition research may not have been his favourite thing to do, Brad. Considering this from him right at the end. Like we said, that is one step away from being in a home, by the way. But anyway, you're right not to laugh at that, mate. I know you're still going to see him again.
No, I'm wondering why you're doing it. I'm not laughing because I know what he's like. It's a dangerous move.
I want to say...
I've got nothing to do with it, Lee.
I'm actually going to defend him, you know what I mean? That's fine. It's the great Lee Matthews. You can do whatever you want.
Of course you can.
If you want to fall asleep, that's fine. At least he was awake at that game, right? As opposed to last week on game day when... Look, I'll let you be the judge here. Is that... Now...
I rang the paper and put an obituary in.
You don't have to comment. I just wanted to point that out. Love you, Lee. Love you, mate.
Scotty, can I ask you, what's it like around the club when you're winning? You know, it's been a roller coaster ride for you at North Melbourne. But when you're struggling, obviously everyone's on your back. But what's it like when you're winning?
Oh, it makes your job easier, that's for sure. Because when you're losing, your job as a leader, whether it's a coach or a CEO, chairman, is to keep morale up. And that was probably the thing I was most proud of last year. We had a really challenging year. We only won six games for the year, but morale never dropped. And the leader's got to play a really important role in that. And because when the leader is down in the dumps, as you feel that way, but you can't show that. So when you show it, it's like a cancer through the group. So winning just means you don't have to worry about that sort of stuff. They're up naturally.
The football world got North wrong though at the start of the year, though, didn't it?
I don't know how we did. I mean, how do we get it so wrong?
I can understand it. I mean, we're the second youngest list in the competition, and the age and maturity correlates pretty closely to the ladder if you look at it over a long period of time. So I think people look at that and think, we're a young list, so we're naturally going to finish down the bottom. But I'm glad everyone did because it spurred the players on. There are a lot of really proud players at our football club, and they knew about that. They knew the predictions, and they went out and set out to prove everyone wrong. But we're halfway through.
Can I show you an example of what it's like at a club when you are winning? And Damien Hardwick at the moment is on fire with the Tigers. And have a look at this. I mean, look, he's helping out with employees down at the club. He's taking the signage out before a press conference. Look, he's even having a joke here, Scotty. Like, that's
a man who's just enjoying life.
It's amazing. Look
Happy
at him.
days.
Smile on his face, joking. This is what a man looks like when he loses a game at a press conference.
That is my favourite piece of vision we've ever shown on the show.
Do you realise how terrifying it is for those poor journos? They walk up after seeing that, they put their microphones down, and then they're all just sitting there waiting for somebody else to ask the first question.
Yeah, I don't think it's that terrifying.
It's terrifying.
I tell you, that's the arrogance of Collingwood, isn't it? They won't even take their back away and put ours up. We have to do it for them. But
how much are you looking forward to Saturday?
It's a good question. I wouldn't say I look forward to it. I think Chris and I try and always put the focus back onto the players, because one of our players quit during the week, about how the win-loss record is in Chris's favour at the moment. But, I just responded to him and said, well, mate, it's really you versus Dangerfield this week. It's got nothing to do with Chris versus me, because it is about the players. I mean, I've never, ever gone into a coach's box thinking I'm coaching against another coach.
Yep.
You're coaching against the opposition players out there. So, yeah, but I don't like the attention. There's probably some... the comparisons are going to be natural, but we try and avoid it wherever we can, unless it's for a very, very good cause.
And credit to you and the other 17 for what you're doing for Neil and MND on Monday. Any leak, just before we let you go, on what you might be going down the slide wearing?
You're better off finding out from my wife, because she would leak it, but no, we're sworn to secrecy.
Oh,
You
no.
can give us anything. Well done for doing it. It's a great
You could fall asleep and go down as Lee.
Thanks for coming on. Brad Scott, our very special. Let's get a break out of the way.